The honourable member for Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Mr. Speaker, we come to this House for the opportunity to shape the future direction of the nation. We must act in the best interest of Canada with honour and integrity, but that's not how this Prime Minister sees it. Yesterday, he showed us what happens to those who choose to honour the responsibility of their office ahead of the wishes of the Prime Minister. His message to Canadians is clear. If you tell the truth and stand on principle, there's no place for you in the Liberal Party. This message is not new. I felt it as well. I swore an oath to put my needs of my country first, so I didn't leave the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party left me. We must hold our elected officials to a higher standard as a reflection of the office that they hold and the example they set for all Canadians. But this Prime Minister is willing to sacrifice our democracy, discard the rule of law, and politically interfere in a criminal prosecution. That's how far this Liberal Prime Minister will go to retain power and cover up the truth at the expense of Canada.
Mr. Speaker, so far, everything to date that the former Attorney General has said about this corruption scandal has been proven to be true. And everything the Prime Minister has said, from claiming that he never put pressure on her to that she never came forward with her concerns, has been proven to be false. So why does telling the truth get you kicked out of the Liberal Party?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Everyone in this place knows that being a member of a caucus comes with both rights and responsibilities, and part of that responsibility is around trust. I had extensive conversations with members of our caucus who informed me that they felt the trust was broken. I reflected on it. We worked with the two individuals in question and made the determination that maintaining trust so we could continue to work on the big things that matter to Canadians, whether it's reconciliation, whether it's protecting our environment or growing the economy for the middle class, meant that we would move forward together.
Honourable member for Carleton.
The Prime Minister told Canadians if anyone thought he'd done anything wrong on SNC, then, quote, it was their responsibility to come forward, and no one did. Yet text messages, journal entries, and audio recordings prove the former Attorney General did come forward and complain to him and his top staff on September 16th, 17th, 19th, October 26th, November 22nd, December 5th, 18th, and 19th. Does he really claim that he knew absolutely nothing about the complaint she brought forward in more than a half dozen meetings?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in my direct encounter meeting with the former Attorney General in September, I confirmed to her that the decision around DPA was hers and hers alone. That is what has been clear throughout this entire process. There have been 13 hours of testimony, including 4 by the former Attorney General, allowed for by the fact that we put forward an unprecedented waiver that suspended solicitor-client privilege in this matter, that suspended cabinet confidentiality so that she could speak fully to this matter that was being looked at by the Justice Committee.
Member for Carleton.
And at that September meeting, the Attorney General reports that she looked the Prime Minister in the eye and said, "Are you interfering with my role as Attorney General? Because I strongly advise against it." Does the Prime Minister remember her saying any such thing?
Honourable Prime Minister.
And Mr. Speaker, once she said that, I responded, no, I am not. It is her decision to make. And she then committed to revisit and look into the decision once again, Mr. Speaker. All these are elements in the testimony that we have heard, that the Justice Committee examined exhaustively. But once again, we see the member opposite is desperate to talk about anything other than our budget, anything other than the economic growth we're putting forward, anything other than our concrete plan to fight climate change, because they have no plan on any of that.
No plan.
The honourable member for Carleton.
And now the Prime Minister has caught himself in a trap of his own making. He came out on February 15th and said that no one had come forward to raise any concerns about his conduct. And now he admits on the floor of the House of Commons that way before, in September, his own Attorney General asked him to his face if he was interfering. Why is it the Prime Minister having so much difficulty remembering his story? Is it because it's simply not true?
Order. The honourable member for Durham will come to order. Order. The honourable member for Banff Airdrie also. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, the member opposite is twisting himself into rhetorical knots to try and make a point that simply is not there. We have been crystal clear throughout this process, Mr. Speaker. We have allowed the testimonies to be heard through the Justice Committee because of an unprecedented waiver we put forward, suspending both cabinet confidentiality and solicitor-client privilege. We continue to very much stand up for our institutions and the rule of law while always standing up for Canadians and their jobs right across the country. We will continue to do that, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Carleton.
Well, now the Prime Minister has effectively admitted that when he looked 37 million Canadians in the eye on February the 15th and told them that the Attorney General had never spoken a word about her concerns, that he was stating a patent falsehood. There is a word for that kind of falsehood that I cannot utter on the floor of the House of Commons. Will the Prime Minister, having now caught himself in his own trap of contradiction and deception, now apologize to the Canadian people for stating that falsehood on February 15th?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Order.
The member from Carleton continues to try and find inconsistencies where there simply are none. We are going to continue to work together as a government on the things that matter to Canadians, as a strong, united team that is secure in the trust of this team as we move forward. We're going to stay focused on the things that matter while the members opposite try to clutch at straws and create political complications where there are none. We are going to stay focused on Canadians while they stay focused on us.
The honourable member for Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister sent a very clear message yesterday to all Canadians. Liberal members of Parliament are here to do what the Prime Minister says or else. The devastating cost for anyone who stands on principle and tells the truth is to be fired, humiliated, and discarded. The Prime Minister holds the highest office in the land. He must serve Canada and defend our democracy, the rule of law, and the truth. When will he start living up to the obligations of his office?
Honourable Prime Minister.
We spent weeks working with the former Attorney General and others to try and find a path forward to rebuild the links of trust that must exist within a team at any point for it to function. We took the time to try and find a path forward, and amid many criticisms that we needed to act sooner, we did not. We wanted to demonstrate a different way and a different approach to politics that looks for common ground, that looks for path forwards. Only when it became very clear that there was a broken bond of trust that was not going to be able to be rebuilt did we take serious.
The honourable member for Burnaby South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Canadians are watching. What they saw yesterday is 2 women ministers get shown the door for speaking truth to power, and now he's not willing to answer any questions about the matter. The only reason he continues with these non-answers is if the truth is even worse. Canadians deserve to know the truth before they go to the polls in October. So will the Prime Minister do what's right and call a public inquiry now?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, apparently unlike the member opposite, we have confidence in the work of our House committees, and we respect the work that the Justice Committee did, hearing hours upon hours hours of testimony, including testimony that was allowed for by the fact that we emitted a unprecedented waiver of both solicitor-client privilege and cabinet confidentiality to allow the former Attorney General and others to speak fully to the matter under investigation by the Justice Committee. That is the kind of openness and transparency that Canadians expect, and that is what we will always stand for.
I'm hearing language that could be considered unparliamentary. I had asked members to be cautious about steps. A member for Chilliwack Hope.
Canadians watched with disgust as these Liberals stood and applauded as the Prime Minister kicked 2 MPs out of the Liberal Party for having the audacity to stand up to him and speak truth to power. These Liberals may have decided that there is no greater principle than covering up corruption, but Canadians know better. Throughout this entire affair, the Prime Minister has refused to tell the truth about his involvement in a concerted campaign to interfere in an ongoing criminal investigation. So why doesn't he just do the honourable thing for once, apologize and resign?
Order. Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Order.
Mr. Speaker, about 6 months from now, Canadians will have an opportunity to go to the polls and choose